The business of brands is basically depends on supplier. If the supplier don't produce, they cannot sell. Main changes will comes like the brand will purchase very conscious that if I can sell 5,100 pieces, I will buy 500. I have started my career in 2005. The beginning of my career, I used to work in a small factory. So that's a very shorter time, around 6 months. And then I have joined in a small consulting company who used to support the textile and RMG factories on compliance management issues. So that was the beginning. And then I worked for development partner, I worked for fashion brands, and finally last 10 years ago, I joined at Lindex. Throughout the career, I see the development of Bangladesh RMG sector as well as the South Asian or global RMG sector. It was at the beginning of the era, it was mainly compliance driven. The main intention was to fulfill the legal requirements and to satisfy the buyer. But within short period, people started to think those as a business win criteria. As for example, energy efficiency. At the beginning of the career, nobody talk about the energy efficiency. They only talk about like the meeting the minimum requirements, the OSs and benefits. And then now, after 2010 or 15, see that people started to talk about the energy efficiency. It's not about compliance, it's rather create the business opportunity. Like the factory started to save money. At that time also, no one talk about the carbon dioxide emissions or GHG emission reduction. Throughout this my career, I see that how the industry developed from compliance to resource efficiency to GHG emission. Now the industry is basically, they are on the way to be excellent. Gradually, basically, the global industries also grow, the legal frameworks also grow, but the industry has developed a lot. Transferring the compliance requirement to the supplier, this is not the right approach. Basically, the legal requirements which are coming toward the global body like European Union or international association, which no one can ignore. But the brand should not simply transfer it to the supplier, because the business of brands is basically depends on supplier. If the supplier don't produce, they cannot sell, simply. So the responsibility also, both parties should share the responsibilities, ethically, financially and non-financially. In most of the cases, the brands do that. Brands get a requirement, legal requirement from its country of origin, and they just communicate. But that's not the right approach. The right approach is the brand should help the factories to comply with these requirements, and in required cases, they can support technically, they can support financially, and overall, this should be transparently, they should share the requirement with the factories, that what they need to do, how they can do it, what is the challenges, and how mutually both parties can overcome the challenge. So there are a lot of things to consider here. First, trustworthiness. The relationship with factories and brands should be trustworthy, and one party should clearly communicate with the other, and then should help each other to overcome those. The global fashion industry is not out of the world, so they faces all the challenges what is going on in the world. Recently, the economic war, the real war, what is going on in the world, it's affected the fashion industry. And these basically the fashion, we have to understand the main context of the fashion industry. Fashion industry sell the product which is more or less commodity. It purely depends on the consumer's economical status. That if somehow global economy is affected, the consumer, their confidence level, their economic level also decreases. So that's how it affects the fashion industry. And right now there is a slight slowdown is going on. It was severe at the end of the last year, and then it's continued till the beginning of this year. Now after just there is some mutual agreement between two Iran and USA. At that time it started to develop a bit. Now again there is a new tension started. But I'll bring this issue in a different way. Fashion industry was never out of any challenge. There was challenge from the beginning. Every year now and then there are some challenges, but most of the cases the fashion industries, textile factories, and all the stakeholders, they manage it very well. So even I'm in this situation, I'm confident the business, there are some slowdown in the business, but I strongly believe that we will overcome this. The main point is that the sustainability is not a just investing money. 5-10 years back, people used to think about that the sustainability means you have to invest a lot of money without any outcome, because most of the legal requirements meeting the local, it does not give any return of investment. But now the main agenda of sustainability is energy efficiencies and greenhouse gas emission, and this is something which is different from the others. This priority is basically help the factories to gain quickly their return of investment. And another point I wanted to bring here also, the branding. Sustainability is now a new branding. Most of the consumers are in Europe, they are now changing their mindset. They wanted to invest more on a product which produce with more sustainable manner. So if a factory, if a brand become able to produce garments in a sustainable way and then can properly communicate with their consumer and customer, and they are ready to pay extra money. So it's now an opportunity rather than a challenges. So I will specifically highlight climate and GHG emissions, but it's same as for green chemistry, because the consumer want to invest more money for safe product. Green chemistry idea is slightly new, but it's not totally new. From the beginning, like 16th century, 17th century, people used to use herbal products. So I just wanted to compare that. So right now, the price of the green product, green chemistries or green chemicals is slightly higher, but it has a huge potentiality. The more safer chemistry you will use, it will help to produce less contaminated wastewater, better quality wastewater. So ultimately, the treatment cost of wastewater will be reduced, and it will ensure health and safety for the workers. It will improve the product sustainability. That means that product will be more safer. So there is a process. The process is chemical management. Better chemical management is required. The factory professionals who work with the chemicals, they need to understand, or factory sustainability team, they need to understand which chemical is green, which chemical is not green. They have to assess the chemical through the safety data sheets and all other things, and then most probably they can do it by phase. For factories, it's not a wise decision to change all the chemicals at a time, or it's not even possible. So they can prioritize something. They can find out that which green chemistry they will use first. So green chemistry is more or less an umbrella word. Umbrella word, it means that there are a lot of chemicals. For that, there are some safer alternatives. So the safer alternative is also right now due to innovation, as these are mostly innovated products, so their price is a bit higher. So that means if you use green chemistry, the product price will increase. So then brand have to take the product with better price, and then brand have to sell this product with better prices to consumer. So overall, what means that an ecosystem is required. The green chemistry ecosystem is required, and I think someone have to start it, and then it has properly communicated through certification systems, through labeling, and then obviously it's possible. And in Bangladesh right now, from my experience, I think that there are several green chemical is using in Bangladesh. So people started it, but we have to formalize it, we have to communicate it with the properly. A lot of new regulation is coming in EU level. All of us know the two law is sharply influencing Bangladesh. One of this digital product passport. This means that a product produced in any manufacturing countries, the brand have to show the full supply chain, visualize the full supply chain, and Bangladesh is a part of it only, one block in the puzzle. So there are a lot of raw material producer, cotton manufacturer, chemicals, accessories, so a lot of things. So now the traceability is the main, appropriate setup, technical setup is required in the factory level and in the brand level to trace the whole supply chain of a product. So this is one thing. Another point is that a new law is coming, or it's already implemented for some product like carbon border tax adjustment (CBAM). So which means that a product which is produced in third country outside of Europe, and once this product entered in the Europe market, they have to pay an equal amount of taxes which is equivalent to their carbon dioxide emissions. So that means that if a product, suppose a container of product in its production stages, it produces 100 tons greenhouse gas emission, and then they have to pay the taxes of 100 tons of carbon dioxide. Right now they are proposing $75 or something euro per ton. So which is an extra burden. Obviously it will reduce the business competitiveness. So for that reason, basically basically the reduction of greenhouse gas emission should be prioritized by the fact. Though right now these policies mainly limited to heavy industries like cement, the steel industry, but most of the European peoples or European business community, they believe that gradually it will be transferred to the fashion industry as well, because their aim is to include as much as product as possible. So the GHG emission reduction through energy efficiency, renewable energy incorporation, incorporating renewable energy uses, the suppliers in Bangladesh, factories in Bangladesh, they should consider how to reduce the emission. Third, that you already bring green chemistry. The product safety is a priority. PFAS is something which is now like is talk of the town in Europe. There are a lot of materials is going on, like communication materials is in the Europe. So this means that the green chemistry is also in the potential barrier for Bangladesh or textile manufacturing country. They have to ensure the product is safe, they don't have contain any hazardous chemicals. So I prioritize three. One is traceability, and then greenhouse gas emission or GHG emission reduction, and then cleaner chemistry. Bangladesh is far better than many other textile manufacturing countries, but not in the top. The main point is that Bangladesh produces bulk amount of product. It's not a country of production for fashion product. It's a country of production for basic product. So the main challenges is that I have to clearly acknowledge that Bangladesh don't get proper price of the product. It's mainly because the brand or fashion brands, retailers, they target Bangladesh for low price. This is due to our geographical location also, because once you place a product in any manufacturing countries, like in Bangladesh, the brand have to consider 6-month period as a shipping time, the total production time, and fashion does not come with like so like slowly. The reason is that normally fashion moves every 2 or 3 months. So if we need to place a product in Bangladesh, I need to plan the product before 6 months. So due to geographical location, now Bangladesh is not suitable for fast fashion. But on the other hand, then how Bangladesh will gain sustainability? The main point, there are a lot of other product which is value-added product, but not so much fashion, trendy fashion, like jacket, padding jacket. It's not matter of, it's a high value product. It's not a matter of fashion. It's rather matter of qualities and the effectiveness to cover to protect during the winter. Formal suit, which is not so much trendy. Like every 2 months, the trend of the suit does not change, but it's costly product. So Bangladesh have to consider its capacity, geographical location we cannot change. So what we can focus the high value product which is not trendy, which does not change every 2 or 3 months or every month, but it's value added product. Bangladesh position obviously above the average. There are a lot of the factories in Bangladesh who are in world standard with regards to not only sustainability, with regard to product quality and overall such management, but we have also a small SMEs also. So we have to lift them, we have to bring new value-added product, we have to target those, we have to build our technical capacity as well as communication capacities also. We do not properly market our sustainability. I am so much familiar with this law. So there are a lot of discussion is going on within my company regarding the new legislation law, especially the waste law. There is a waste management law. So this is called conscious consumerism. This is nothing different. It's basically the business model of fashion company. Last 10 years back, it was that they purchase 1000 pieces, they sell 100 pieces in full prices, and then they started to sell with discounted, and they sell mostly 600 to 700 pieces, and then the rest of the amount go to the dumping side. So that's the usual business. But now where this huge amount of waste will go? So European Union, they started to talk about the waste management policy, waste management regulation. So now the main changes will come, like the brand will purchase very conscious that if I can sell 5,100 pieces, I will buy 500. This will help different way. Bangladesh or manufacturing countries in a different way. Earlier, they sell 100 pieces like full prices, 500 pieces, 10%, 20% discount, 30% discount, buy one, get one free. But that phenomena will not be continue now. So if they buy 500 pieces, they will try to sell these full 500 pieces with full price. So that's how Bangladesh or manufacturing countries have the better possibility to go better price.